Hey, hi, welcome to the session. And in my previous session, I discussed about the pandas libraries and the different data frame functions. And today's session, we gonna discuss merging, joining, and concatenation. Like how do we concatenate and how do we merge or join different data frames? And this is one of the ideal scenario, most common use cases across in data science, right? Like when you have multiple data frames and you want to concatenate, and how do you merge them and how do you join them, based on certain rules, and how do you concatenate them out. So those all things we're going to discuss. So here we have two data frames. So in this data frame, like each time first in this data frame we have defined like in the index and the list items, and these are the categories and the columns we are defined, and three data frames we are basically defined here, right? So let's execute one after another. It has executed the second one, data frame one, and sorry, data, and this one. So once we execute this, in the so these are the different, the columns, and these are the different values what we have aligned here, and these are the column names: sales, priority, and different categories, right? Mm, different column categories. So again, in the same way, we have created three data frames. And so when we talk about merging in the sense like we have to merge, merging the columns, like so the column which are matched or which are not matched, how do we merge them out? So let's see. So we have first displayed all these data frames. We have seen the data frames here, and we put the function here, concatenate. Concat function, once you put the pd dot concatenate, concat function one we put here, and data frame one, data frame two, once you put here, it will be giving the value like this, right? So if I try heading enter, it has already value is already pasted. So it has given basically DFA1, DFA1, what is that? DAFA1, 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 and here what I specified by default, DAFA1 is not defined, or it's not defined, like somewhere value is wrong. DAFA, DAFA1, DAFA1. Let's try executing that. Name DFA1 is not defined. Here, what we have specified here. And now we try executing this. So we have, earlier we haven't executed this statement, because of that this DFA1 value was not getting printed. I mean, this particular data frame was not getting printed. So that is why it was showing error. So here we have, let's perform this operation now. And so here it has given two data frames, right? Data frame one, data frame two. So how it has added the value? So wherever it had the common columns, like in the data frame one, what are the columns we have? Customer ID, IMP, payback, and sales. Our customer ID is the common across level. So overall, how many columns supposed to be there? How many columns? Overall, four, 3, 7 columns supposed to be there, right? So once we see here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 columns are there. I mean, which column is common? Oh, sales column is also common, right? So ideally we should have 6 columns. Now, how does it concatenate? it will see the values here, like in the customer ID 101, 103, 104, 105, and what a customer IDs are matching. Let's see. So 101 is matching, 102 is matching, 103 is matching, 104 is matching. So 105 is not matching, right? So once we see here, 105 is here, 105 is matching. Fine. But first we will be having all these values. Then we start matching them out. Like, do we have 101 is matched, 103 is matched, 104 is matched, 105 is 101, 102, 103, 104, right? So here, once we see 101, sorry, data frame 1, 101, 102, 103, 104. So the first values, for whatever the first values were there, those all the values got printed. Now it will see, after the 101 is getting matched, that's fine. 103, 104, 105, what are the values are not getting matched? So what we see here, that once we concatenate, let's go for this, yes, here. So here in customer ID 101, 102, 103, 104, it will match the value, right? It will match them. Wherever it doesn't find that matching or the match value, it will put NaN. So here we see 101 is getting matched, but here we do not see we have the column. We do not have this IMP column here, right? So if we do not have that IMP column here, then instead of that, it will be putting that NaN in the across the column values. NaN, 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 like this, right? So it has put, like, it didn't find any value for this, I mean for IMP column. So if the values are not found, then in that case it's going to put this NaN. And what are the columns? We have level, we have cat. I mean, all these values will be printed here. I mean, for the data frame 1, I'm sorry, data frame 1. When we talk about the data frame 1, so all the values will be printed here. 103, all these values will be printed in some sequence order the way we have given. So it has printed all these values. It has printed all those values, and wherever it didn't find the value, there it has mentioned NaN. For example, if I talk about 101, 103, 10, so first it will match in the first. Let's see, data frame 1 and data frame. So first it will match 101 with it has mentioned, and that IMP column is not there. Also IMP column is, so all these four values will be. So in the same way, if we check for cat 0, cat 4, so what are the values are getting matched? We have the values which are getting matched. Cat 0 for from the source system, I mean from the first data frame, it will print the entire value, all the values it will print. But while matching, it will see, like, the values which are not getting matched, these values are not getting matched. These values here, these values are not getting matched. Payback, that column is not there. So, and here in these values are not getting matched. So if these value doesn't get matched, so it will not be printed, right? So that is how, this the concatenation works. Like, as I went for two columns, in a similar pattern you can put three columns across, right? So in the same way, if it doesn't, it will match for each value. And if it doesn't find that value in that same place, then it's gonna put NaN, meaning the value is not found, right? So now we'll go for some other example of data frames. In that, like, let's try executing these data frames. Table 1 and table 2, we have specified two data frames here, right? So two data frames, and now let me print the table 1. It is already printed even. So once we print the table 1, we have customer ID Q1 and Q2. In the same way, we have table 2 is a 1011. Likewise, we have second. So once let's see, like, what is the value in the data frame. So let's put the data frame value as well. So we have these values in the data frame. Yeah, customer says priority prime and all. So here, if we have to merge like these data frame, uh, DFA1 and DFA2, how do we merge that? That based on the column column value. So all rows and all column values will get merged. Like that I have already showed you on the top, right? Like all the rows and all the column values will get merged here. If it doesn't find any value there, NaN will be mentioned. So in the same way, if it try merging those values, and if it doesn't find any value, it will be adding some extra column. Like here X and Y. Like for example, we have suppose we have the difference in values, right? I mean difference in values in the sense, suppose we have two columns. Let me show you. Primary, we have 13456, 13456, and data frame 1, data frame 2. So suppose we have some difference in 4, 5, 3 to 1. So likewise, if we have the value in difference, right? We have different values. So it will put the column values like this, like sales, sales X and sales Y, right? So if we have the column value different, then in that case it is going to put automatic, it will be taking like X and Y coordinates. I mean X and Y base it will just classify the value and will put in this way if you have different values, right? So it has already put that column, and wherever it doesn't match the value, it will put NaN in that in that particular cell. So that is how the merging works. Hope you got the idea about like how does this merging works. It's a simple way for just matching the value for just matching the value, and if the value gets matched, then well and good. If it doesn't match, then in that case it will be NaN will be placed at that particular cell or that place. So again, we have the customer ID and customer, that I have already told you. Like if you have more than values and values are not getting matched, then in that case it will be giving the different column values. It will be giving X and Y, and automatically it will be mentioning that. So that is how, in the same way, like if we have to we have in table 1 and table 2, if we execute that, then it will be giving the output like this, meaning like there is no NaN value, meaning everywhere the data available and more than one type of, I mean there is a difference in values in table 1, table 2. That is why it has taken the values as X and Y, right? So that is how it works. So let's go for the joining in the sense. Again, we have defined these data frames, and we try printing df3 and df4. Once we try printing that, let's join them out. So this joining is basically, if you might have in database, there's something called join concept, like uh, inner outer join, left outer join, right outer join. Likewise, we have some join operations there. So in that, how this join works, if you have uh, eh, like I mentioned, everything from the D3, if you mention like this, so join D3 is supposed to be joined by D4. So everything from D3 and matching was from D4. Meaning, if any of the value which is not going to mention in from D3, everything will be printed here, right? Everything will be printed here, and the values were from D4 to D3, it doesn't match, where this NN will be printed. Meaning, so if I try compare, let me should take you through example. What is that? Yes, this is the example, right? Yes, let's go through the example, and I'm try concatenating that. So in this quarter 3, quarter 4, if I try, no, little up. Let's, if you can see, people can see. Yeah. So if we try concatenating these two data tables or data frames, we can say then in that case it's going to print Q2, Q1, Q2, Q3, 4. All these columns will be called out, and the values from this first table, from the first data frame, all the data will be printed here. So it has already printed an entire data set, and wherever the values are not getting matched, it will be giving NaN. So these 304, I mean 301, 401, that is not getting matched, right? So it has printed and then likewise, so wherever the values are not getting messed, it will be giving their NaN, right? So that's the concept, basic concept. Okay. Now let's go for another kind of join operations here. DF3 join data 4. And so here, in the same way, like from the first table, everything will be printed here. And from the second table, where it did find the value, where it has printed NaN. Likewise, you can just perform this merge operations or concatenation can be done in this way, right? So I hope you might have got the idea about like how this merging works in real time, or I mean in Python. Like you just need to simply match the value. If the value matches, then it's well and good. If it doesn't match, then you have to put simply the NaN. Automatically it will populate the NaN, meaning no value found. So you just need to make sure the data and this the syntax and the way the column values are called out, those should be written in proper format so that like it can match the value and whatever the next I mean if it has to print nan or whatsoever, accordingly you can perform your action. So in real time what happens, you perform all these operations in data frames and the tables, then you play around with the data, based on different scenarios. And there you won't be having the limited columns, one or two or three or four. They would be having hundreds of columns, and there you would be having the bigger data files, right, or data frames. So those data frames you need to execute for different purpose, or so that is how exactly it works for this, right? So I hope you like this video. If you have any doubt around, you can just put your doubts in comment section, so I would be happy to help you. And thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed my channel, kindly subscribe, like and subscribe my channel, and see you in my next session. Thank you.